What is good, everyone? A-Rock Oakley back. We have Wedge, part 12. We have seen a lot of innovation with this deck over the last little bit. Last we left off, we were pretty high on Thermal Oscillator. We were talking about the difference between that and Tarkin Town, which we've been doing for most of these parts. Um, and I think where we currently are at, nothing can really beat Django, but we might have some updates on that come. I guess it'll drop on Tuesday, maybe the next day from FFG, which I think is something that we would all kind of like to see. But what you're currently seeing here, this is a very streamlined list, and I took a lot of inspiration from this list and uh, brought it over to Tarkin Town. A lot of the things that I was doing well in the thermal oscillator version was being efficient, getting underdecks, and I think we can still do a lot of the same going into Tarkin Town. But how do we enable Tarkin Town? Because I think there's a common discussion right now going around about if you're not a natural ping deck like Cad Bane or Quinlan or Asajj or even to Django with all of the pinging units that do it when played, should you be playing Tarkin Town? And I think that there's a lot of reasons to say yes. And there could be a reason to maybe go to a 30 health base, but I just don't see it because I think a deck like this needs interaction. We need to be able to push through some sentinels. We need to be able to do things because we are a lot lower to the ground. And we don't go very big in the top end. We have to kind of Voltron it up to be big. Um, this shifts us in a way where we do need this interaction early. I mean, take yesterday, I ambushed a blue leader and then it got commandeered. But I was able to, I still had Tarkin Town. I was able to use Tarkin Town to kill the blue leader. So there are situations where that does come up, and it's just so nice to have. And most of the time, if we aren't able to close out a game before they do 25, we probably were losing that game, whether we were on 27 or 30. Um, so I think that this interaction feels really good. Tarkin Town feels much better into Quinlan Voss and into Cad Bane Tarkin Town, two decks that I think are pretty good into Wedge in a lot of ways. One of the biggest things that we have shifted was you don't see one of the best droids in the whole Star Wars universe in here. R2D2 has now been shifted out in favor of Metal Ceremony. Now, why I like this is that Metal Ceremony works on your Fleet Lieutenants, it works on your Cassians, it works when your Wedge goes to ground, it works when your Chewbacca goes to ground. It covers units. So when we do lose initiative, maybe we have to Tarkin Town, this still allows us to advance the board in a really strong way to set up for really big rebel assaults or just to set up to make math really difficult for our opponents. I think Metal Ceremony is a card that we have been missing, being able to grow things naturally without having to pilot. Um, and you know, yes, I mean, yes, it can be blown out by Bamboozle, but if they bamboozle a Metal Ceremony, this thing was free. Not to mention, when we were working on the Quinlan matchup, saving this in your hand for Force Throw, very, very valuable. You're always wanting to hold back something small, anyways. In this list, we are running red 5 over red 3 because we do have the one Y Wing. We aren't playing the Gray Squadron Y Wing. I think the Alliance X Wing is just simply better at guaranteeing your damage. If they can soak your damage, it feels bad. And if we have to play one of the Y Wings, I think the Red Squadron Y Wing is one of our better ones to be playing. Just does more damage and putting stuff, making math awkward is always good. So that allows us to play Red 5 as an efficient 3-4 ship. And now if this is piloted on the next turn, it can't be pinged Tarkin Town. So if they don't use their Tarkin Town early, you might be able to go for Red 5 into a Nien Nunb or Biggs, something like that, and grow this ship well out of Tarkin Town range, and then they have to actually attack into it, and it's likely a trade at that point. Or if they're trading a unit plus their base to kill your unit plus a pilot, feels pretty good. It basically is one for one for removal is kind of something that we want to line up with our opponents. Um, yeah, there's not much else that has really changed outside of just some of the play styles of the deck. Um, if you have initiative and you play a Green Squadron A-Wing, there are times where it is best to not pilot that turn, especially into certain decks that might ping or Tarkin Town or something like that. Just like bait the Tarkin Town if you can. Bait the removal. Get in and then load up, because if they go one for one removal with your ship, then you feel pretty good, and you can then use it on the subsequent turns to get there. We are often still trying to line up on the 4 resource turn a 2/2 play, but in this build, having Daring Raid allows us to do the 3-1 line a lot more. Sometimes the 3-1 line is like if both of your ships survive going into 4 resources, you Rebel Assault, first action into playing a 3-drop, very good. Now we can play a 3-drop and Daring Raid and potentially follow up with a Tarkin Town, or if the Red 5 was our turn to play, you Daring Raid and then you maybe take something out. You get yourself into these places where the math works out in your favor. Just let me math. Um, and this is, I just think the list is feeling much better. Something that we have also talked about with Mean Dean is 3 Fleet Lieutenant and 2 Blue Leader. This was kind of a testing period, and I'm starting to recognize the importance of that and what it's doing for us. As the more fleets we have, the more we're getting under, and when we ground pivot, this is great, and I think the addition of Metal Ceremony, having a 3/3 that can easily become a 4/4 in subsequent turns, is very, very good. And it's proven to be really, really strong. Um, I personally have adjusted the sideboard, so let me pull up another card here um, that we've been considering. I am trying out for these Shield and Sentinel decks. I'm trying out the Valiant Assault Ship. It's has the heroic um, aspect, so it's a great ship on its own. We generally stop resourcing after 5 resources in most games unless we have double 3-drop. So this is likely to get online to be attacking for 5 through shields, through sentinels, through everything, which is great. I think with the uptick in Luke, this feels great to be using as to take out ships, and it's asking to be piloted to be able to push through, throw Chewbacca on this thing on the following turn. So you go 4-drop into this, Chewbacca into this, and then you play a 3-drop or a 4 cause or something like that. You can be doing a lot of work. But the other card we've been considering is Infiltrator's Skill. Now this functions as making anything have Saboteur, which I think is great. It's basically R2 and goes anywhere, so I do like this card, and is what will also be testing out alongside the Valiant Assault ship. The rest of it feels really good. I've seen an uptick in Traitorous, so I definitely want the Fang Fighters to be in the 60 at some place. I still think Spec Force Soldier is very good. I did test some games against some ramp decks and got to see the power of timely reinforcements, because if they're playing stuff like Overwhelming Barrage, if you just put more power on the board, it makes those Overwhelming Barrages less impactful. Where, say they're on 6 resources, cool, I'll put 6 power on the board with the other stuff you already have on the board. You're still presenting 6 damage on the following turn in theory, whether they take it out or take those X-Wings out or not. Um, so definitely liking that. There's not much of a difference here. We were on the snow speeder, but I just think I think this doesn't do enough, because if a Django knows that you have this card, why would they ever play into it? They just won't go for the jug, and then you're off. So something that we kind of peeled away from. Between Red 3 and Red 5, it's arguable. I think in the getting under versions, you want to be playing Red 3, but if you're trying to play more interactive, like Tarkin Town likes to do, I think Red 5 has a benefit. And I haven't seen a place for Sabine's Masterpiece. One thing we did test out recently was K2 with Heroic Sack to just maybe have a full ground pivot, but it just felt really clunky and didn't feel as valuable as we needed it to be. So yeah, outside of that, I feel like the list feels pretty locked in, and we're just it. this feels like the Wedge Tarkin Town list, and this feels like maybe one of the better Wedge lists that we might be able to put up, and that feels consistent. I say that with some caveats of you might be able to throw in some spice all over the place, but this feels in line with the most consistent and lines up to push some really clean plays. Does it get blown out by certain decks? Sure. Does it blow out certain decks? And can it blow out any deck? Absolutely. This is a deck that has incredible games into anything. It just, sometimes doesn't get there, and I think that's kind of where the state of SWU is. And I don't love the Django thing that's happening, and I think we're all kind of hopeful something changes. Yeah, I guess let me know down in the comments below what you're hoping happens. If you think Wedge in a Django list, maybe even other banned cards lists meta, uh, does Wedge rise to prominence? Because I think it's pretty good into Sabine, pretty good into a lot of decks. Then we'll start to figure out what the control matchups look like. We'll start to figure out what some more matchups look like, or we just keep fighting Django because nothing happens on Wednesday. Let me know down below what you all think. And a real fun thing that we've been doing over on the KTOD Discord is Wedge is the leader of Red Squadron or Rogue Squadron, but I'm calling our crew over there Ferda Squadron. I know, I'm just a just a kid in an adult body, but I love it. So Ferda Squadron leader heading out and signing off. Stay awesome, everybody, and may the force be with you.